I'm Sierra, the astounding actress.
I'm Sarah G, the cultural connoisseur.
I'm Frankie Ashen, the portentous professor, and this is Sunkissed Pod,
the podcast that goes there.
Sunkissed Pod is the creative space where we talk about popular media, self-exploration, and the world around us.
Come sit at our table and kiki with the girls and they.
Y'all, did you guys watch the Grammys?
Kind of. I watched the clip.
I was gonna say, I saw the performances and I saw the think pieces, and it was like I was there. And then I asked my radio host bosses what they thought of it, because really I was trying to get the eyewitness news for people who watch it live, and they were like, why was it so bloated? Why did it take so long to get to the awards? Why did it do this? And I was like, yeah, that's something.
Yeah, I want to correct my statement. I was watching illegal streams on YouTube. And I did notice that it was like, because I was going to try to log on Paramount, but I didn't have a log on, and I wasn't going to pay a subscription for the Grammys. But yeah, I was watching like illegal streams, and then I was just watching the, reading the updates, because I wanted to know. I needed to know whether Beyonce, Gazelle, Knowles Carter.
Giselle.
Gazelle. Baby, I'm like the goat from Wicked. I got problems enunciating my G's. Okay?
The goat from Wicked. It's
Glinda. Okay.
Not Dr. Dillman. What?
Yes. I'd be struggling with my G's. The point is, I needed to make sure my queen Beyonce Knowles. I wanted to see if she finally got the honor she fucking deserved. Was Cowboy Carter. And guys, it's Black History Month, baby.
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone black.
Listen, Doja won Best Rap Artist. Kendrick Lamar won 5 Grammys for Not Like Us as a Kendrick Lamar stan.
The way I would be like swinging from the poplar trees.
He's bothered. He's hurt.
Listen, he's punching the air. You hear me? Punching the air.
It makes me so much like malicious joy. All of it.
No, it really does. I love Shining Freud, and it felt good to bask in his downfall. And he's still a loser and an incel rapper, and he will always be one. Okay, I don't care how, like, his next album or his next hit song, I may rock to it, but he's still an incel, and we never fuck with him.
Oh, we rocking? Hold on.
Listen, a good beat is a good beat. I'm not going to seek the music out, but if the music finds me,
right.
I'm not downloading it.
It was like when Certified Lover Boy, is that the album with all the pregnant ladies of his? There was one song off of the Pregnant Lady album with Thames that had me like, oh, maybe I could listen to Drake. And then anyway, yes, Sierra, we watched the Grammys.
The Grammys were watched by us.
Yeah, so I didn't similar to y'all, I didn't get to actually sit and watch it in real time. It was a lot of texts from friends like, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see this? And when I finally did tune in, I literally caught the award ceremony, and I was just like, okay, all right. And let me tell you, honey, when they announced Miss Beyonce,
I was also
her reaction
was
like, my reaction. She was like, what? And then you have Blue telling her to get up, like, Mom, get up. What you doing?
It was fight or flight. It was fight or flight for her.
Like,
she was like,
what?
Yeah, that was for when she won the country album of the year, which we were all shocked.
Album of the year. That was crazy. And I mean, you know how they do the pan of like everybody in the room. You have like Cynthia Erivo jumping up and like going like super hype and like, oh, like her reaction was just everything. Like complete girl's girl, like just like, oh my gosh. And then you pan to some other people, which some of the people like they're like some of the, I guess the other country artists that I had never heard of were sitting at another table, and they like panned, and just the faces, I'm like,
I kind of feel bad for them because no matter what, like They would look
Oh,
bad
interesting.
regardless. Like, because the thing is, like, the internet likes to
Right.
create narratives, so you could just have a straight face, because everyone wants to win. So let's not sit here and be like, they have to be happy that they lost.
Oh,
It could have been just been like, damn, I wanted to win that award, and unfortunately now the internet got a face of you being like, I hate her, and of course they're gonna add an extra layer of a narrative to it. Some of them are hating as white people, but some of them could have just been like, man, I really wanted to win that award.
Yeah. Not this time. Gosh darn it.
I feel like
Here
they should
they
have been
come.
happy. They should have been happy to lose. Like Adele.
Listen.
I mean, well, when
yeah.
Adele was like ripping apart her award, like
Yeah.
it's Mean Girls to give to Beyonce. Yeah, they should have done that. If anything,
It's like when Billie was okay. So Beyonce won album of the year, and then Billie Eilish got caught on screen crying. I felt like she was crying tears of joy for Beyonce.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Now
Absolutely.
we're gonna talk about it later. I don't think her fans felt that way.
Oh my gosh.
The white fragility.
Yeah. Oh, my TikTok was full, honey. Full
Full.
of Billie Eilish fans having their rants. They had a picture of Beyonce looking like some type of demon, and then they had Billie looking like an angel. Like, they were going in, honey. I thought the Swifties were bad. I'm like, dag. And see, I feel split because I'm in both wheelhouses. I love Billie Eilish and I love Beyonce because they're both definitely very much different artists, so I can appreciate both. But I was like, my algorithm was stressed.
Now
Like,
your
wait a minute.
algorithm was stressed.
I was like, what is going on?
It definitely was like a what is going on moment. But before we get into that, can we talk about how we was fighting for our lives in Ticketmaster? Okay, people are literally online talking about how Cowboy Carter's wasn't that great of an album. It, like, we didn't like it. She shouldn't have won for this. Then why the fuck was there like 40,000 people in line for tickets?
40,000.
Well,
I was
for
at
what venue?
50,000.
Like, girl.
Crazy.
Girl.
Listen, I was at work, okay, y'all? For those of you who are listening, okay, I was at work and my phone's going bing, 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 bing. And I'm thinking, what is going on? And Sarah and Frankie, let me tell you something. If there was a chat log, I'd say put W, Frankie, and Sarah, because they were fighting, honey. Like, all my life, I had to fight color purple in the queue, trying to get tickets. And I'm like, y'all,
Listen.
it is a Monday or a Thursday. Like, what is going on?
At 8 a.m., I set up my computer. I got down. I started work early just so I could set up my computer and stuff.
I did the
had
same thing.
I had two tabs open. I had one for Saturday and one for March. One for Sunday, right? And then I knew Sunday was going to be the least popular, so that was the one I was aiming for. Bitch, when I tell you, when I restarted it and I was in the waiting room, I was at number 6,000 for Sunday and number 1,100 for Saturday. A lot better than Frankie. Frankie was in the trenches for Saturday, okay?
For some reason, my work Wi-Fi was like, you think you're getting Beyonce tickets?
Again, right? So when that shit, when I went to 6,000, they told you to only have one tab open. I read it, but I was like, guys, it's for 2 different days. They kicked me out. Like, I got in for Sunday and they kicked me out and I crashed the fuck out. I literally screamed. I was literally distraught.
I know you did. I felt it.
I was like, what the
Miles
fuck?
away.
The only read on Threads that some bitch was able to have multiple tabs open and was still able to get her ticket. I was like, fuck this hoe. What's wrong with me? Like, why was I caught? And then, like, because we got a 300 seats. Luckily, Frankie got in second day. Shout out to Verizon pre-sale. Okay?
Hey.
And she got us tickets for the 300 seats. That was like 200 something. 219, right? Girl, tell me why my Renaissance ticket was $350 for the 100s. So I'm just like, why is it 200 for 300s, but $350 for like what's going on? Beyonce, it's a recession.
Right.
What are you doing?
Also, never mind Beyonce's work, Beyonce's capabilities. It's also Ticketmaster, which has had multiple issues, like issues with the law, with like its dynamic ticket. So depending on how many people are in queue, depending on the popularity of the tickets, depending on the artist, depending on the day, the time, they can the ticket prices can change any which way within a certain amount, within a certain threshold, which is like, I feel like this is another thing that will snowball into more of what we're speaking about today, but like the consumerism of it all. Like, we are trying so hard to buy these tickets in order not to freak out and end our lives while the world is on fire and while we live in a quickly fascist leaning regime. The thing with tough times is people want to party. The 20s were roaring for a reason. The 20s were swinging and all that. I have a feeling history repeats itself. How are you going to, with your dynamic ticket pricing, get in the way of my, like, layperson, underclass joy? Like, do you want me to stay alive? Girl, give me them tickets. No.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Do we need the tickets? No, but do they bring me joy? Yeah.
Right?
Am I thinking about my outfit? Of course.
Right.
But yeah, so fighting for the tickets for not the greatest album, but the album of the year undoubtedly was amazing. But then my joy was fleeting because those Billy fans, those Sabrina Carpenter fans, don't even get me started. The fact that Sabrina Carpenter fans think they're even a part of this conversation is laughable. That's delusional.
You don't even go here.
Cute album, but not album of the year. Stop.
No,
stop.
Not at all.
Oh my god,
not even close.
Like,
no.
But watching their behavior just kind of made me think about Whiplash and how I feel like white people are trolling us. They just go on the internet and they freak out about something that Black people or people of color are enjoying, and they try to ruin it for us by complaining and crying and censoring themselves. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of it. It's exhausting to have to prioritize, particularly white women, because no shade, white men do get mad about things. Maybe because pop culture is very women centered, so all I see are just white women crying on my timeline, and I'm just like, why are y'all crying? And why do I follow so many of y'all? Like, what is going on? How do I improve my timeline?
Right.
They're showing themselves.
I know. Okay. Listen, and you know what's really crazy is that some of these people were the ones wearing the blue bracelets. Okay.
And we knew that was some bullshit. We knew that. It was like, first of all.
Right.
Well, no. The country is falling apart, and y'all thought, let me buy a bracelet so people can see that we're allies. If y'all don't quit
Tell
this
me
shit.
about this bracelet. I've heard
You didn't?
no such thing.
You didn't hear about the blue bracelet? So basically,
honey,
the 92%. You know, when Kamala didn't win, the 92% were in our feelings, and we went on. The Black women are 92%, and we went online and we let people know that we only got Black women and the 78% of Black men who has us, and everyone else can go fuck themselves. So white women, in their feelings, were like, no, guys, I'm a safe space. I want to you. Look at my blue bracelet. Look at my blue bracelet. I'm one of you. And the Black women were like, the 92% was like, okay, we didn't ask for that. Actually, we need y'all to talk to your grandparents,
for your life,
to your uncles, to your kids. We need y'all to get them together. You want to be an ally?
50%.
Yes, you need to shoot themselves. Talk to your friend group. Right. If you want to be an ally, change your community. We don't need you to buy a blue bracelet. So that's what the blue bracelet shit is about.
Right, but then talk about the aftermath of when we found out this blue bracelet thing was happening. When a lot of us Black women went on TikTok and said, hey, listen, we're not asking for all that. We were just asking y'all to do your job. They flipped. well, we're there for it. They basically kind of gave us a like, we did all of this for you. You should be happy that we're even supporting you. Like they made it a us problem again.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just
We're
like,
letting you
there it
live.
is. There's the BS right there.
I feel like in general, anytime Black women don't fall in line with anybody's perception of what they want from us, they have a backlash to us. Like,
that's right.
When Black people were a little too excited at the idea of Black women running for president, people got mad about that. We had a
right.
like when Black people show joy, people get pissed off if that joy doesn't align with their politics or their desires, and if they feel like, yeah,
you're Black, you should be broken. You
Yeah.
should be downcast. You should. I mean, I'm a white person and I'm feeling bad. You should be feeling worse. You're under me. What?
Right.
Okay.
There goes that policing emotions thing.
So, as we're talking about, like, the white lash of it all, how did it feel watching Billy fan after Billy fan, first of all, discredit Beyonce's talent? They try to come for her album and say, well, she has 72 writers. Billy only had 2. And I'm like, well, maybe Billy needed more people because she's producing the same album after album after album.
Yeah.
Maybe she should
Her
have...
brother's producing the same album after album.
That's right.
It's a
What
great,
else
like,
are we-
Birds of the Feathers
Good
a good
vibes.
time. Good boys. But maybe she
Album
needs a
of the
little more
year.
innovation in her life. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How did it feel to, first of all, to watch white women try to discredit Beyonce, try to discredit the countryness of the album, and just crying on the internet and throw a fit? Because it wasn't just Beyonce. Then we saw that it was Kendrick Lamar. And that was the whole white audience mad. Like, what is this black ass performance? No one was cheering. And then I also feel like I see this shit with Meghan Markle. Like, they're just mad she married that right boy. They are so angry that she's in the world. That she married Prince, a hot one. How dare she marry Prince Harry? Like, I just...
Hot and bothered.
There's just so many there's just so many pop cultural moments of just experiencing white lash. And, like, what are your guys' feelings about watching these, like, experiences happen? These reactions happen? I mean, Sarah, you went on a whole rant about it.
I sure did. Listen, y'all. I hit up the group chat so fast. I'm like, let me tell y'all something. I'm so tired.
Going to church.
I'm tired. You hear me? Listen. So it's very frustrating. As somebody that who appreciates art and music, I grew up in a very musical household. I understand what goes into creating art, whether it's like writing music or it's singing music or it's performing. It's frustrating when I see fellow artists like try to break down and destroy someone, a Black woman who's been doing this for years. And not only doing this for years, but has held the door open for other women to also do this and carry on a legacy. As much as I love Billie and I love the art she creates, because her style is, like y'all said, it's very much one style, very like low key, kind of gives a lo-fi vibe of music where it's like almost house music, like, you know, it's not overstimulating. It's very just like low tone. I will say that as somebody like Beyonce who has held the door open for a lot of women, it's very frustrating to me to hear people just say, well, she doesn't deserve it. She doesn't work hard. She doesn't listen. Listen. It's so false and it's so wild. And I always wonder, like, do y'all get tired? Like, is there ever a moment where y'all just are not on your post of angry white womenism? Like, you know, it's just in 16 Carriages, you know, one of the, I love that song. She talks about it. She mentions it. She's saying how hard she's been working just to be constantly being pushed and saying, nope, you can't. Or like, I have all this, I've done all this work, but what do I have? What do I get out of all of this? And so when I hear people question the artisticness of what Beyonce does, it's very like, bro, what? And it's, again, it rings true to what Black women face on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Nothing we do is good enough. It's always like, oh, you almost had it. Oh, nope, sorry. Nope. And even when we have all these qualifications, we've done all the work. I don't care how many writers we have, we've done the work, and it's still like, nope, not good enough, So it's definitely frustrating for sure.
What gets me is more often than not, there's this like phrase for Black women in particular where we do 4 times the work or like half of the accolade. And I feel like the backlash, the white lash that we see from Cowboy Carter winning Album of the Year, Best Country Album, comes from this idea of like, well, you're not supposed to be here in the first place. You're not supposed to be here in the first, and I'm not willing to get past that, and I'm not willing to open my mind to what you may bring to the genre, because you're not supposed, someone like you is not supposed to be here, and we need to fight for that, fight against that first before getting to acknowledging the work. And the concept of, well, as a Black woman, you're supposed to give excellence for nothing.
Right.
You're supposed to give excellence for nothing. So, and we're allowed to consume it and consume it and consume it. And we go to the Beyonce concert, and we're the white folks in the honey bucking pit at the Cowboy Carter concert. Meanwhile, there are so many people who recognize Beyonce as a full person rather than a commodity to be consumed, which, I mean, she makes it her business to be a commodity to be consumed. But it's almost like there's a lack of human focus when acknowledging Beyonce's work. And that's sort of like, if we're gonna police Beyonce, what Black woman can win? She's light. She's got good hair, quote unquote. She is polite. She is quiet. I mean, we haven't seen Beyonce do an interview in so long, except more recently after her Album of the Year award. That was the first time, and everyone was like, she's talking to us again, because she minds her business. And even then, that is not enough. And I feel like that's just the broader prophecy for Black women. So that Cowboy Carter backlash it feels personal. And then we're seen as crazy for being like, oh, this is kind of personal.
I want to touch about that personal part, because I feel like, especially when you live in like a white supremacist society, whiteness is always centered. So we can watch Taylor Swift win 4 Album of the Years, and the problem with Album of the Year is that it represents that, it's like basically represents the sound of that year, right? Like this is where the music was in that moment. And you're telling me that Midnights is where music was in that moment? But whiteness gets to be centered and gets to be championed, and we're just all supposed to be like, yeah, of course she wins for that award. Of course she wins for that album. And just get over it. But Beyonce wins her first Album of the Year after having a 25+ year career where she has given us great bodies of works like Lemonade and Renaissance. 2 albums that I like. The fact that Harry House won for over Renaissance is pathetic.
I'm looking at the article that you put in our notes, Sarah, of this Substack on the deep dive of Cowboy Carter, and Beck. I remember 2014 Beck winning over Beyonce.
And that's another thing when it comes to like numbers and stuff. The Grammys and people always pick and choose, right? So Taylor should have won for Midnights because Midnights broke records. But Cowboy Carter didn't break records. It shouldn't win. But Harry's House should have won Album of the Year because it broke records. But Renaissance was a better body of work. So like they always change the lines, right? They always change the markers of what greatness is. Right. Greatness, either you have the numbers, is it about talent, and when you have an artist like Beyonce that hits all the markers of greatness, when you have an album like Kendrick Lamar, like they do the numbers, they have the subversiveness, they're innovative, but yet they barely get recognized in the top categories. I think that's interesting. And then when white people decide to get mad when their artist doesn't get recognized, and you have to contend, like, you can't even enjoy this moment of, I guess you can't enjoy this moment of, like, black joy because you have white people crying saying they don't deserve to win this. Like, even with Kendrick Lamar in the Super Bowl, that was a black-ass performance, and I have watched it multiple times and enjoyed every second of it. I'm so proud of him, and someone who's been a Kendrick fan who loves the album Giannettes, but been a Kendrick fan for longer. And nothing is more annoying than seeing white people be like, oh, that was the worst Super Bowl performance ever.
I see comments. So I work in radio, and I see comments on our station Facebook page, small town station, predominantly white, predominantly older audience, and it's like you have people commenting, well, that was plebeian and ghetto, and I'm like, what are you even talking about? Like, what, you're not engaging critically with anything, especially if it has a black person in front of it. It's ghetto and nasty.
And that's what Kendrick Lamar talked about in his own performance. He had Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam, saying that this is what the audience, white America, is going to say about you. That this performance is ghetto. So it's just, it's just no fun. I feel like black people can't have fun.
No.
And we always gotta be, we gotta be worried about white people's opinions and stuff. Like, we just can't enjoy life. Even when I think about Meghan Markle, who is a biracial woman who is bougie from all accounts and speaks multiple languages, used to run a lifestyle brand, used to be a TV actress, and she falls in love with a royal prince named Prince Harry. These white women would not let her breathe.
Oh my gosh. Everything she did, if she blinked too hard, if she turned her head to the right instead of the left, like, it's just like, I'm tired. I'm so tired.
She pursued her hobbies.
So tired.
Because she has a new Netflix show coming out about her lifestyle, which she did before she met Harry. And of course the comments are like, this is disgusting. She's a loser. She's trying too hard to be like Prince Kate. Like, and I'm just like, are y'all okay?
Please be so for real. Please.
And they are rooting for this woman. Not only are, like, white audience rooting for her downfall, like, white media is rooting for her downfall too. Like, Vanity Fair had a whole hit piece out in January talking about she was mean to people while running her podcast. I'm just like, why do y'all hate this lady so much?
Like, so bad. Like, I mean, I just can't. I can't.
Mean.
And then,
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, and mean just means, like, assured and confident in black womanese, apparently.
Right. Yes. No, truly. And it's just like that white lash of her marrying to the whitest institution in the world. Even though she's light-skinned, even though I would say she's white passing, the minute her black mama came out with dreads, it was over for her. Like, there was no hiding it.
No. They were like, oh, you're one of them? Oh, forget it. Forget it.
But it was like, we watched, with her in particular, this big white lash. Like, how dare this biracial bee marry Prince Harry into our white ass institution, and how dare she demand us to treat her like a human? Right. How dare she? How dare she expect us not to harass her?
Right.
To the point where she wants to commit suicide.
And that's the thing that was crazy to me, because they were trying to even paper bag her kids. Like, I was like, I beg your finest.
Those are white children. I hate to say it.
They are. So it's like, are you good? Is that okay with you? They're good. They're not.
Those are some white children with red hair.
They are. They are.
They're stressed about that one drop.
And you know, and it's just, I can't.
They're stressed about it. And they were jealous because she became more popular than William in Princess Cake. Yeah. And I just never saw the royal family fumble a bigger bag because, like, listen, again, it's really that one drop because, I mean, truly, I mean, we got Diana.
Right.
May she rest in peace.
Queen.
But, it's literally wild that, like, Princess Meghan Markle could have, like, made the black colonies in the world, because that's what they see Jamaica and the Caribbeans and these African colonies, African countries as colonies. Still, they still see them as their colonies.
Right.
She could have, like, been a bridge, but they're like, no, bitch, you're a little too popular, so we have to stomp you down. And then people were mad that she had the audacity to stand up for herself. And watching the white lash that has been uncomfortable, and it's scary when you're darker than her and you're unambiguously black. Because this is a woman, again, who could pass. I mean, personally, if you know Black people, she can't.
Yeah.
But for some reason, she was talking about in her documentary, yeah, like, people used to think I was white. Megan. Like, Megan.
It's like, here we go.
Oh, who thought you was white, girl? But, like, no, but that's because the way that she does her hair and her makeup, I think she wanted to pass. And that's a whole different conversation.
Oh, yes.
Because this is like a tangent, but I remember watching her documentary, and she said that one time her mom was in a car coming back from a concert, and this guy who was in another car trying to get out of the venue called her mom the N-word because they felt like the mom cut him off. And she said that her mother never talked about it. And as a Black kid, I can imagine someone calling my father N-word and my dad never discussing that moment with me. So I do think Megan was not prepared for the white lash that was coming her way because she was never given the tools to speak about race. And I know you're like, oh, Sarah, she was in her 40s, but I'm like, you know, if you're not having conversations about race and ethnicity and nationality and talking about the racial dynamics in this country with your children, they can go their whole lives pretending like it doesn't exist.
That's right. The freeze response in reaction to these things that haven't been spoken about can be so real. Like Miss Mama over, and it's funny that you say like, I can envision my dad, because I can envision my dad. He actually, he is Ghanaian, and he immigrated to Canada and then immigrated, quote unquote, to the United States. And, he would pretend to be Jamaican to avoid African racism, like racism to Africans. It was cooler to be Jamaican in the 80s.
Yeah, it was. The African booty scratching thing has been haunting a lot of African people for years.
Oh my God, yeah.
As they should feel haunted, because that was a very racist and derogatory thing to say about African people.
Absolutely.
That, I think, originated in Black America. Like, Black Americans were the one that came up with the African booty scratching.
Yeah.
What was it? Diaspora Wars.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Like, when we talk about this white lash, we could see what individuals were prepared for it, like from their upbringing, and what individuals weren't. Like, I feel like Beyonce, growing up in the South with her parents, who talked about, I listened to Solange's album, Seat at the Table, and she has voice notes from her parents and her parents talking about being one of the first few people to integrate into high school and talking about Blackness. And so I can imagine like a Beyonce and Solange, with two parents who are so proud of their Blackness, have had conversations about race and racial dynamics in this country, as opposed to a Meghan Markle, whose mother tried to shield her by not talking about it at all, right? And probably thought to herself, well, my child is light enough to pass, and not this may not be her burden, despite me being a darker Black woman with dreadlocks. You know what I mean? Which I think is very interesting.
It's probably because of that distinct, like, I know I am a darker Black woman with a hairstyle that white people think is like dirty and unkept and and urban and all these things, and unprofessional, and literally the military won't let me wear, even though it's a protective style.
What's so interesting though, it's like Doris kind of light skinned in the Black community, but like, compared to Meghan, she is her daughter.
It just reminds me of how my father, he said he didn't want to teach me any of our ancestral language in case I get an accent, which only happens when you're surrounded by all of the people in school and out and about and everything. But he still was like stressed because of the implications of being seen as less educated and less intelligent because of an accent.
You have an accent.
Which is like...
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, because my mom's Puerto Rican, and she has an accent. So when she came to stateside and she moved to Virginia, despite the fact she had a degree in accounting from the University of Puerto Rico, like, she said her accent prevented her from getting the jobs that she wants. I mean, my mom got other things going on, but, like, her accent, she did face discrimination because she was Puerto Rican and had like a thick Spanish accent. So like that accent thing is so serious, right? One of the sad things about living in a very white society, you know, like how many people in their talent and what they can offer the world goes unnoticed because they don't meet the standards of whiteness, or they can't get close to those standards. And then we see someone who does meet the standards. Like, I hate to say, Megan kind of met the standards, but then she flew too so close to the sun.
By existing. By existing.
And we watched that she wasn't equipped to deal with it. And she's lucky she got out of that situation alive. And when we see like people like Kendrick Lamar, Beyonce, even like Obama, who are equipped to deal with the white lash. And do have the community and do have like the knowledge to kind of like push back against it and still move forward. Like, I don't think Beyonce watching people melt down on the internet because she won Album of the Year, I don't think that's something that's going to make her suicidal.
No, not at all.
Like, Kendrick himself, in his own performance, he was mocking the way that the white lash will attack him for his performance. You know what I mean? Like, he was prepared by using Samuel Jackson as Uncle Sam. He was prepared for what the comments and the negative feedback would be about his performance. Not just from white Americans, but also from the black diaspora or black people in this country. Like, he's prepared for it. So he was able to handle it better.
I think that moment in Get Out, 2017 Jordan Peele film, one of my favorites. I love Get Out. Jordan Peele, I love you.
It's so good.
Shout out Jordan Peele.
J. Peele! When the protagonist of this movie sort of infiltrates the liberal or pseudo-liberal household of his white girlfriend, and the father like tries to put him at ease, but really it like sets him off and makes him even more uncomfortable, is when the father pulls up and goes,
that's right.
If I could have voted for Obama for a third term, I would have.
A third time.
Like,
Which
girl.
is like,
It's like,
there's more to this. There's more to this. And I can't, like, if I were in the position of the protagonist, played by Daniel Kaluuya, I can't remember the protag's name. Twisted Poser.
Me either.
And
was it Chris?
that was his friend.
Yeah, Chris was the funny friend by Lil Ray.
I don't know why I was like,
Shoot.
that's his friend. Like, how do I remember his friend's name? But not
Right.
But anyway,
What was his name?
if I
Yeah.
were in the position,
And see, that's my favorite movie.
right? I'm like, wait, I should know, but like,
I know Rose because I remember him being like, Rose, hand me the keys.
Get the keys.
Rose,
Yeah.
Rose. Now imagine being put in the position, which
It was
I
Chris.
have. Oh, it's Chris.
Oh, then who was his bestie?
I'm a liar.
It was Chris.
Who was the TSA
Okay.
agent? Was it like Donald or something? Now this is
It
research
was,
time. Rod.
Rod.
Okay,
Imagine
gotcha,
naming your kid Rod.
Okay.
Anyway.
I mean, you hate children.
You hate children, you hate your progeny. I get it. Being put in the position of the black person that has to deal with the social and like psychic aftermath of a white person being like, sorry about the racism. Here's what I would have done. I can't do anything now. Huh? What do you mean? I'm sorry. I be saying huh too much, but sometimes I am just shocked and appalled, and I can't deal. And I want to talk a little bit about the background of white backlash, and get into the like professorial stuff. White backlash, white flight, white fragility, and white anxiety have been such an integral part of the social and political sphere of our country ever since Reconstruction era, which is like, 1865, Juneteenth, slavery has been abolished, and now Texas knows 3 years after. Woohoo! But so everyone knows now, right? Okay. But we're gonna need to get some de jure. I don't know how to pronounce it as well as I used to when I would hear it all the time. But like, there's this idea where like the judicial system has to figure out a way to make racism and make segregation like okay, make it make sense and make it in law so it's hard to dismantle. So Reconstruction era after slavery was of the era of Jim Crow laws, of the era of redlining, gerrymandering, all of these things that were meant to put Black people and all other undesirables away from affluent and resourceful areas. Like, we want you in the corner where the schools are shit, the water is tainted, there's no, it's a food desert, all of these things, we want you over there. But as soon as Black folks got the affluence necessary and the wealth and equity necessary to get and infiltrate, quote unquote, these spaces, these white spaces, that's when white people would literally white flight, move out, go somewhere else, and then the town would then redline the area that Black people moved into, so that all the resources eventually degraded to nothing. So there's always this like preemptive backlash against white Black prosperity, Black joy we were talking about before, respect. I was thinking of this and thinking of bringing it up because you mentioned Barack Obama, Sarah, and how he did everything by the book. He did everything he possibly could. The only thing that he didn't do was follow fashion standards for president. Y'all remember that tan suit?
They stay mad about that tan suit. They hate that tan suit. They were barking.
And there's this like idea.
And he looked good in it.
Let me tug this collar a little bit.
I mean, Obama was out. Obama was out.
You've revealed yourself.
Yeah.
But like, there's been visions of this backlash since before Reconstruction era, but the 50s, the 60s are probably the first time that we've seen it come into play in such fierceness and ferocity. And we see that from literally Barack Obama, which he was the president with the most drone strikes, foreign drone strikes. He did have, did it feel like a black blanket over a white institution? Yes. But
yes,
the sanity and the respect that he would command, there was this immediate backlash of like, he didn't deserve to be there in the first place. Beyonce didn't deserve to be in the country section in the first place. So let's get angry about that and get rid of all thought. And then we get Trump in office, which is almost like, huh? How did we get
which is
back?
a white lash too?
How did we like roll
any sense
back?
Of progress?
But really, it's like that's how it goes in this country: two steps forward, three steps back.
23, like no, we're 200 steps back at this point. How do we cope? How do we cope with white lash? Because I feel like
Beyonce tickets.
This is going to be right, like truly, like how do we? It's I feel like it's something that's going to plague us for like the rest of our lives. I am of the belief that racism is undefeatable. Like it's not something we're going to be able to get rid of. I do think we can try to put policies in place to create a better system so everyone can benefit. But I do think racism itself is incurable. Like I really do. So how do we, as people of color, no, as Black people, my bad.
Not Black clear.
As Black people, how do we cope with the white lash of it all? Because this won't be the first time we watch them get mad when their favorite artist doesn't win, or when their president doesn't win, or they punish us by giving us the worst president. You know what I mean? Like we just know that living in a white supremacist society, that we are not the standard, and if they ever feel like we get too much, they're going to stomp us down. And how do we cope?
Honestly, I will say I agree with what you said, about how I feel. I agree. I feel like racism is always going to exist. I, as the resident Bible thumper in this podcast,
we always need one friend.
There's always one. There's always one.
We always need one friend to thump on. Listen,
WWJD.
Listen.
Listen.
God is an awesome God. He waits from another wizard. Sometimes
praise and worship.
Listen, that song is a bop.
It is a bop.
Not to interrupt you again,
Okay.
Sierra, but
You know?
also, I've got the victory. I've got the victory. Okay.
Listen, don't touch it. I'm gonna get my tambourine. Don't play with me.
Look at the two heathens. Just the two heathens out here
Listen.
singing all the gospel songs. Listen.
I'm
CeCe
looking for it,
Winans?
okay?
I pray. Like, CeCe Winans is that
Yes.
girl.
I'm crying.
CeCe Winans is that girl, honey. All right.
Period.
See, this is what happens. No, happy Sunday, y'all.
Oh,
happy
happy
Sunday.
Sunday.
Praise the Lord.
Hey.
Anyway. No, but it's so crazy because what a lot of people don't realize is like racism was also in the Bible. Like this isn't new. Like a lot of this stuff was happening back then. So it's funny when you see a lot of people going like, "Oh my gosh, everything's out now. Everything's racist. Everything is like." I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Racism has been here a long, long time.
Yeah.
I will say that there is. I watched this like documentary, it was like the History Channel, and they did like a story about certain stories in the Bible. And one of the stories they talked about was Moses, and they said that if you don't know what Moses is, you can take the time.
Go
to
ahead,
look it
watch
up, y'all. I ain't
Prince of
spoiling the story.
Egypt.
Anyway,
I mean, he's one of the most popular people. So you should know.
it is. I mean,
The Red Sea.
one of the things they suggested
Period.
is that
Be part of
because one of the things they suggested is that because Sephora, Moses' wife, was Ethiopian, she was a darker skinned woman. They suggested that Moses' brother and sister was actually racist towards Sephora. And one of the things that they said is that they believe that they actually got leprosy because of it. So God was like, "Oh yeah, leprosy,
Smite.
no." But, you know what I mean? So,
I like that. I like the sound of that.
right, but it's just I'm like, oh, period. So that's why a lot of times you'll hear people say, a lot of Christians will say, be glad that we're dealing with New Testament God and not Old Testament God, because the Old Testament God didn't play.
He'd be I'd send the swarm up to
He
your
was
house and kill your firstborn and your family. Like, oh,
Literally, like blood on the doors. Like, you better make sure you good.
wait,
Cover
maybe this is
yourselves,
how
govern
we
yourselves
cope.
accordingly.
Let's put
But
blood,
anyway,
lamb blood
No,
on our
listen.
door jamb,
blood-
and then don't tell any of the white
Listen,
people.
Yeah.
I have my oil.
So the cops can
Listen.
come and say we murdered someone.
Literally,
That's a great plan.
literally.
Right
And then they get shot. Yeah, and then we're a hashtag, right? But I can't with you. But no, so how to answer the question though, I believe that actually, all jokes aside, we do cope with going to concerts and listening to music and celebrating what we do have and the culture that we've created and all the wonderful things we've done, because I feel so bad for our generation, and I know that sounds so silly, but it's just like,
No, I feel
I'm
bad
like,
for our generation
dang,
too.
man.
People don't read
like
anymore.
I was gonna say, I'm like, you go to bookstores and I'm like, where is everybody? Like libraries, like it's just
Yeah,
the
critical
word-
thinking
mind
skills
you,
are not there anymore.
they're not
1 in
there.
5
So it's
people
just like it's
are
like we
literate
have
up in
to.
here, so
And that's one of the richest nations in the world. That's
sad.
too many people.
It's sad. And like, shameless plug real quick. Hold up, because I just saw looking
You
at my
plug
book.
something.
I have the
The 1619 project. Okay, cool.
This
cool.
is my homework. I promised myself I was going to start a book and study it because I
Should
think
we
that
have a
it's
book
so
club?
important. Hold on.
Listen,
I'm actually down for that. But
we should have a book club.
I'm here for it. But
Yeah.
I just, I genuinely, I believe that the only way, honestly, to laugh, to keep from crying is to enjoy what we do have. But also, I also believe that I'm not going to sit here and, not do anything. You know what I'm saying? Because there's still work that can be done. I'm not going to, Not the
An
new
option.
Jim Crow. Yes.
Guys, I'm listening to Cass, which is about the racial dynamics in America, and I'm also reading the new Jim Crow and the Some of Us. Oh, bitch,
What?
are we gonna talk about a book club? Okay, listen. This is just okay. We might have to give our subscribers a book list, a book that they should be reading.
I agree.
Okay. Because
I
look
agree.
at us reading out. I just listened to The Freedom of Constant Struggle by Angela Davis. Listen.
That's one I want to read. I want to
I'll
read
let
that
you
one.
borrow
If
it.
you
I
got
saw
Libby,
it.
you should download the app Libby.
I will do that because
You have a
I
library
love-
card.
Yes.
You can get free audiobooks, and the Freedom of Constant Struggle is on there.
I
Alright.
fully interrupted
Okay.
you with my
Anyway,
book showing.
But
Sorry.
no, it's okay. No, but see this stuff. No. It's all good. This stuff is important. But I think also, especially like it's interesting. Like I said, as the resident Bible thumper, there's one of those things that people say like, oh, we're just gonna pray about it. That's what we tend to do. A lot of us, religious Black folk, we say, oh, we're just gonna pray. We're just gonna pray. Listen, the Bible says that faith without works is dead. So if you're not doing the work, you have the faith, but if you ain't doing the work to take care of it, honey, it's going to stay where it is.
love that.
So you got to do the work.
Faith without the work. What is that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, and faith without works is dead. That's the scripture. Don't ask me which scripture it is, but it is definitely a scripture.
It's in there.
It's a part of some book. Matthew,
It's in one of the books.
Isaiah, Psalm
I'm gonna
said
say
it.
it's-
Somebody said it. No, you
I think
don't.
it's
You don't have to
Psalm.
quote it. Just like
Just feel it.
I'm gonna put it in the chat. But
Yeah.
anyway, but no, it's serious. Like there is work to be done. Now I'm gonna also sidebar it and also say that Black women are not required to do all the work.
period. Yeah,
It doesn't say that. We're not gonna play that game. Like
We're not the world's mules.
We are not the mamalas of the world. Love you, Drew. But what was that, boo boo? What was that?
I'm tired of white women. Oh my god, they're literally crying. Like, where's Kamala? She's a private citizen. Y'all did not give her the job.
Right. She is.
And
Catholic,
listen,
honey.
I do think our politicians need to be doing work, but she herself is no longer a politician. She's not the vice president.
Nope.
She might be running for governor. We don't know her life, but the point is, this expectation for some of y'all chose not to give the job.
She's
It's
not,
crazy.
Right.
Accessible any longer, and white
Yeah.
people hate
We are not-
when Black
no, no,
women
no.
aren't accessible to raise their children and teach them things and teach them sex and steal their culture. Be accessible to me.
Yeah. It's just a lot of delusion.
It is. And so I say as Black women, I think we definitely need to cater to ourselves.
Cater to you.
It's like Beyonce says, cater to you. We're going to cater to ourselves this time. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, just because we're tired doesn't mean we have to stop following through with our values. So I do got to say, the Black
Right.
women talking about they're going back to Starbucks. Have some cool
Decorum.
Like-
Decorum.
like, what? Like, listen. You don't have to, just because you're tired, don't let go of your own personal values. That's what I would just say.
Right,
with that.
right.
I feel like
That's true.
that-
But
Yeah.
just to
I'm
wrap
not-
this up.
I was gonna
sorry,
say,
Frankie.
in regard to the values, I think about what has been helpful to me for coping in this world that is so anti-Black women, anti-Black joy, anti all this, is also sort
Yeah.
of distancing myself from like punishment as a goal or as a restorative option. I'm not over here wishing for incarceration for my enemies. I'm not over here
There's some,
well,
I would say.
when it comes like you are a danger to the public, it's like, ooh, okay.
Lock them up.
Well, there's something about like,
I mean, I want to be abolitionist if I can't.
all right, I'll be the abolitionist over here, and I'll say, I think that there is something to like reevaluating your values and trying to think of ways to be more open, human-centric, and like decolonized decolonized in some way, and that comes from certain things like distancing oneself from like punishment as a restorative action, or just like waiting for people to get their due. Like, you can't wait for that. You have to get it. You have to be the actor. You have to be the active participant. And I think in this realm, in this era of shock and awe and 89 executive orders in like 2 weeks, folks want us to be
He's flooding the zone,
stressed and overwhelmed, but really it's up to us to recognize our power and our ability to change around us. And that's how I'm coping. That's how I'm coping.
Right.
I think that's a word, and I think that's a good note to end on. Shout out to Beyonce and Cowboy Carter.
Yes.
And forever and always, screw Whiplash. Like, we're not gonna let y'all bring us down. And that's, I think that's tea, guys.
Toni Morrison said it. If you take your race away, and there you are, all strung out, all you got is your little self. And what is that? What are you without racism? Are you any good? Are you still strong? Are you still smart? Do you still like yourself?
Thank you for listening to the Sunkissed Pod.
You can find the Sunkissed Pod on Spotify and Apple.
And you can join us on Instagram at the Sunkissed Pod to stay up to date on the girls and the ladies.
Ta-ta.